Welcome to Let's Talk Learning Disabilities with Laurie Peterson. Laurie spends her days talking about dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, and ADHD. She talks to students and adults who have had a lifetime of academic challenges. She's here to share their stories along with other insights with you. So let's talk learning disabilities.
Hey everybody, this is Laurie, and welcome to the new episode of Let's Talk Learning Disabilities. So really fun today. This is one of our conference episodes. We were lucky enough to be a part of the Educational Consulting Association Conference. So the Independent Educational Consulting Association. So we have been here for 3 days in Detroit, Michigan, and we have been speaking with some amazing educational consultants, test prep people that work with neurodivergent kids, people that work with all students, supports for students that have varying needs. It's just been a really phenomenal conference. We got to meet with some people from some different colleges, but I did grab 3 specific people that I thought would be really fascinating and just wanted to get a quick clip of what they do and make sure that you know about these people. Chances are good they're going to be coming along later for a longer episode, but in the meantime, I wanted you to get a snapshot of what they do and how they're helping people. So you guys know if you have questions, you can always reach out to me at letstalklearningdisabilities@gmail.com. If you know somebody that might be interested in this information, feel free to share this episode or like it or give us a positive rating because we definitely appreciate that. Hope you guys have a great day and enjoy our interviews from the conference. Hey everybody, I am back and we are at IECA 2025 and I have our first guest today, Andrea Malkin Brenner. She's a college transition educator and author. Andrea, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about what you do.
Absolutely. So a tiny bit of background. I was a college professor for 25 years, studying sociology as a first-year student. I am the author or co-author of How to College, What to Know Before You Go and When You're There. And I'm the creator of the Talking College card decks. They are discussion prompts all about the transition to college.
Prompted you to write the book and come up with the cards? Like what was the problem you saw that this was going to solve or help?
Sure, great question. I was a professor, and what I would see in my classrooms when students were failing to thrive or doing poorly, it wasn't the content area at all. It wasn't the academic content, but it was the student who had a fight with their best friend, didn't know how to refill their allergy prescriptions, really the life skills of college. And I had a colleague who was also a professor of many years, and the two of us realized we had worked with probably 40,000 first-year students between the two of us and had all this knowledge and wanted to share it. So we went on a hunt to find out what books existed on the transition to college, and we were surprised to find out that very, very few of them were written by college insiders, people who had actually worked on college campuses. Most of them are written by parents or people in the business world. And for us, it was really important to impart that knowledge. So that's how it started.
That's amazing. And so what are the key things you guys focus on with your card decks and how are they used?
Absolutely. So the card decks, and that's my company, Talking College, and they are used by families. They're discussion prompts for dinner table conversations. They're used quite frequently by IECs who purchase them as gifts for families or use them in their office, either meetings with students in person or over Zoom. And we also sell in bulk to high schools and colleges. We present them to families on, for example, junior parent night. They might hand out our campus tours card deck. Graduation gifts, they might hand out college ready card deck. So each one is a little bit different. We have 5 card decks out, 2 more in the works. And
awesome.
they're used in many different fields.
So if people are interested in your card decks, your book, your information, just who you are, how do they find you?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. TalkingCollege.com is the best way. I also speak at high schools across the country, and all that information is also on the website.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you again for stopping by. It was lovely to meet you.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Bye-bye. Hey, everybody. It's Laurie. I'm back. Now, at IECA with another guest member who has been kind enough to stop by and talk for a few minutes. This is Jim Wisner. He is with Ivy Experience, but he's also a board member of the National Test Prep Association. So Jim, thank you for being here.
Happy to be here.
So first, tell me a little bit about Ivy Experience. What do you guys do?
Sure. So we are a one-on-one college prep and test prep company. So we help students with preparing for the SAT and ACT, academic tutoring in various areas, and then also the college essay and application process.
Oof, okay. So when you do academic tutoring, are you focusing mostly on those high school kids?
That's right. Mostly high school, some middle school, and some college.
Okay, good. What are you seeing, with the changes? I feel like every year the SAT and ACT, there's something new about it, but I know there's a big ACT change coming.
That's right.
What's coming?
So the SAT is now kind of in a steady state after it changed to a digital format in 2023 and 2024. This year come the changes to the ACT. So we're currently in a pilot program where the digital version of the ACT is in its new format. But all versions of the ACT, and this is a difference with the SAT, there is both a paper and a digital version, will be in the new format as of December. And the changes really come in two regards. One is format. So the format of the test is changing to be less speeded, and that means that students are going to have more time per question.
Okay.
The other big change is that the science section of the test will now be optional. Now, if you talk to a test prep pro, they'll tell you to still take it because ACT doesn't really decide if the science section is optional. Colleges do.
Okay, interesting.
So the idea is because not all colleges have revealed what their preferences are going to be for students, at this point we're recommending all students take the science section, even if it's optional at registration.
Okay. And so the difference being now starting in the fall of 25 is that for the ACT, you'll be able to choose if you want to do a digital or a paper.
Exactly.
SAT is all digital.
Unless you have an accommodation for Braille or some other reason that you would need to, take the test on paper. One thing I'll say about this choice with the ACT is that we really recommend students take it on paper. The reason for this is that when SAT went digital, they redesigned their test to be a digital test, and they made their own bespoke application for students to take the test in so that it's a very seamless experience. The ACT, because of this hybrid format, they're taking their formerly paper test and using it in someone else's digital application. So it's a much clunkier experience for students, and we believe it does slow them down as test takers. So for students who want to maximize the time provided on a standardized test like this, it's really important to test on paper.
That's huge. And I'm curious, on the digital versions of both tests, are students able, because I haven't taken it in a million years, are they able to go back and look at previous questions? I feel like with paper, it just seems easier.
Yeah, you are able to navigate to previous questions. You can mark questions for review and return to them on both tests. On the ACT's digital interface, we've had students have some trouble because they're using only school-provided devices for this. And sometimes the size of the interface and the resolution don't scale properly, and it's difficult to navigate certain points in the menu. The SAT and their Blue Book application that students test in, it's very easy to use this mark for review feature and go forward and backward in the section.
So you are also a board member for the National Test Prep Association. Tell us a little bit about that, and why is it important for families to want to work with a company who's part of your association?
Sure. So the National Test Prep Association, we are the largest professional organization, nonprofit, supporting test prep companies. And we support professional development and advocate for the appropriate use and administration of standardized testing. And I would say there are really three reasons a family would want to work with an NTPA tutor. First of all, we hold our members to a strict code of ethics in an industry that isn't regulated. So if families want people held to high standards, that's what we do. Secondly, you're going to find someone who's investing in their professional development. We offer ongoing professional development in pedagogy, in business development to our members. And third, we have direct connections to people at College Board and at ACT so that we can keep our members as up to date as possible in what seems these days to be an ever-changing testing landscape.
Right. So my last question is, I know with COVID, we went through a phase where a lot of schools started going test optional. Do you see that reversing as we get further and further away from COVID?
Yeah, good question. So I would say where we're looking, where the trends are going right now, we're seeing a situation where a lot of schools are going back to either requiring tests or heavily preferring tests as part of applications. I don't anticipate that we'll ever be back in the pre-pandemic situation of 90+% of colleges requiring test scores. There will always be test optional options out there, which is great news for students who don't test well. But more and more colleges are expressing strong preferences or requirements for the test, and we do anticipate seeing more of that slowly over time.
And do you see them also including it as a heavy part of their decision-making in acceptance?
Yeah, so these things vary highly from one university to the next. The best source of information on this is something called the Common Data Set, and it's information that is published by most colleges, and it will show you the percentage of their freshman class who submitted scores. So a college might be test optional, but fewer than 30% of their students are submitting test scores as part of their applications.
That's awesome.
That's an invitation to say, hey, we'll take you kind of equally whether you submit a test score or not. And then you have a school that's test, quote unquote, optional, but they're accepting 70+% of their students with test scores. That tells you that optional is not the same thing. I like to say test optional is an umbrella term for a broad spectrum of philosophies on the use of standardized testing in admissions. So you have required and you have score-free or test-blind on the two kind of extremes of the spectrum. Most colleges are test optional, but it means different things at different institutions.
Do you see a university stay pretty consistent year to year, or do you see that waver at all?
Yeah, good question. So generally speaking, yes, universities have been fairly consistent, at least since access to the tests reopened coming out of the peak of the COVID pandemic. And one of the interesting things we've seen too is that the colleges that have gone back to requiring scores, for instance, Ohio State recently, they were admitting over 80% of their students with test scores. So these percentages were kind of telling us that they were creeping back to requiring those test scores. And then we finally saw them make the change and admit that, hey, we really want to see your test scores.
Yeah, they realized how important that was. Exactly. It's a good piece of information to have. So if anyone has questions or is interested in your services, how do they find you?
Sure. nationaltestprep.org is the best place to learn more about the NTPA. You can view our member directory to find someone local to you. If you're interested in working with Ivy Experience, then myivexperience.com is the best place to go. That's myivy.experience.com.
Perfect, and we'll put the links in the show notes. Thank you so much for taking time out of the day today to talk with me. This has been incredibly informative, and we may have you back for another full episode later on because I feel like I have a lot more questions, but this is good. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey everybody, I'm back. We have one more guest who's been kind enough to stop by from the IECA conference and talk with us for just a few minutes. Laura Amagon is a college success coach and an educator, and I am super excited to have you here today. Thank you, Laura.
Thanks for having me.
So can you just tell us a little bit about what is a college success coach?
Great. So I work one-on-one with students who are already enrolled in college and do virtual coaching with them. So my goal is to empower my students to thrive and succeed in college so that they make the most of their time and tuition. So I really work with them on developing skills in three main areas. So the first is college time management, very different from high school time management. Secondly, helping them figure out their college to career plans. So how to pick a major, minor, programs, what do they want to do over the summer, and what could they see themselves doing right out of college, and kind of what they want that to lead to long term. And then lastly, helping them to develop their college self-confidence. So different from high school, a lot of students kind of finish high school, height of their confidence game, and then they get to college and it's a different story. So they really have to think about how do they build that skill of self-confidence and really start to interact with peers, classmates, how to talk to professors, how to go into offices and really get the resources that they need, and just really be confident on their college campus.
Do you usually start with them like the summer before their freshman year, or can you pick up with them at any point in time?
So both. So a lot of students, I will start with them over the summer before they start their first year of college, and we meet a couple times and really work out whatever they need the most help with to start. And then we do a couple more sessions once they're in their first semester on campus, whether they're living there or commuting, and really help them make sure that they're getting into the flow of their new college life. But I do work with students at any point in their college career. years, because some students are okay for the first year, and then second year maybe they're now panicking, like they don't know what they want to major in. At the end of sophomore year, they have to decide, and that can lead to a lot of overwhelm or doubt or, all sorts of things. And some students, it's really like more junior year when they have to start to think about the career piece in a different way. So it's different for a lot of students, but really anywhere in that college journey, even recent grads, who are now trying to figure out what's next.
Floundering a little.
Yeah.
Do you find that the majority of your clients are neurodivergent in some way, or I would think this would be a service that anybody could benefit from.
Right. I would say about 50% of my students have a diagnosis of some kind.
Okay.
But what's great about the coaching is it's so personalized.
Right.
That even for my neurodivergent students, we have to really figure out the strategies that's going to work for them. It's not a one size fits all. And so all of the things that I work, all the tools that I use and the things that I teach are good for all of my clients, because we have to figure out what works for that student. So
we talk with parents a lot about the difference between life in high school and life in college. High school's so structured, and you have mom and dad, and you've got something to do from 8 a.m. till sometimes 6 o'clock at night, and then you go to college and it's like a free-for-all.
Right. And it's a big identity shift for a lot of students, especially if they were super involved in something in high school and then they're not continuing that activity. And to figure out how, a lot of students who were theater students and now they're not in theater, they're not pursuing that as the major. So they don't have these long stretches of many weeks where they're, doing rehearsals every day. Or the athlete who was, spent their whole 18 years playing a sport, and now they're in the high, and they might be doing it pickup level or something,
right,
but the time is just, and really that identity of like, wait, who am I now if I'm not the basketball player, or I'm not the, the actress or the singer or whatever they did.
And now I'm one of 10,000 or however many.
One of 10,000. And, again, they have tons of activities at the college, but how do I start something new when I'm not good at it? A lot of students don't go for the new club or the new sport because they're not good at it, and they've been successful in what they used to do.
That's all they know.
And so, being willing to be a beginner again is a big self-confidence skill. And I'm always like, grab a friend and be a beginner together. That helps to right. And realize that, you will learn and it'll be fun, and that is how you make friends. It's not about the activity itself. It's about doing things alongside people, having conversations, and being a little uncomfortable, a little vulnerable. And that's where you'll make the good connections.
And that's a great lesson for life.
I'm doing the same thing. In my 40s, I have to start something new, learn how to do this,
do something uncomfortable.
Right. Ask people for help, ask people for guidance, right? And not pretend like I know everything and that I'm good at everything, because I'm not. Yeah. And then also the flip side's true too, being aware of those students who need help. And if I'm more expert or more confident in something, bringing someone else along or being that resource for somebody else.
That's huge.
So that is huge too. And that makes both people involved feel good. So I'm always like, in the study groups, find a friend in a class, make a friend in a class. That's a big difference from high school to college. You have friends in the classes. College, you're in a big class, or even if it's a small class, but everybody's wearing AirPods, everyone's wearing headphones, and you don't necessarily have a friend in that class to text and be like, oh wait, I didn't catch that, or I was sick, did you get the notes, or something like that. But forming study groups is so important. That's the biggest change academically, I think, from high school to college. And being the one to say, hey, can I be part of your study group? Even if you're the one who's lost, you are beneficial to the group. And then you're going to be in the flip side position too, in some class where you're the more proficient one and you see somebody who looks like they need help, inviting them into the study group actually benefits you, because then you can teach them and help them, and that helps you understand if you know the material, but you're also supporting somebody else who is in the same game as you are, trying to make it through and figure out who they are in college.
I love that. I think study groups are amazing. Yes. I totally agree with you. Do you work with kids at colleges and universities across the country?
Because it's all limited. Virtual, so it's all online. And East Coast, West Coast. I do have some students, I work with them when they go abroad, and that's kind of fun to figure out the time change and stuff. I had a student who was abroad in China, and I would meet with them at 6 a.m. my time. It was 6 p.m. his time. But it actually worked out great because it was good for me.
Yeah, that works out really well.
Yeah.
So if anyone is interested in your services or just wants to get some more information, how do they find you?
Best place is to go to my website. So my company is called Rudder Coaching. So RUDDER, letstalklearningdisabilitiescoaching.com. And you can, if you're interested in scheduling a free consult call, I love those, and that can be with parent. If student is looking for me, that can be with student, but definitely an intro call is the first step. Have a conversation, see if this is a good fit for you before we move forward with any coaching.
Awesome. Thank you. We'll include that, the link to your website in our show
great.
notes.
Okay.
But thank you for taking your time to stop by today.
Great.
Appreciate
Thanks, Laurie.
it.
Appreciate it.
All right. Have a good day.
You too.
Thank you so much for joining us today. In our show notes, you can find information about today's talk, as well as links to resources and other episodes. If you have questions about today's talk, have ideas for future episodes, or just want to stay connected, you can contact us through Diagnostic Learning Services on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. So, let's keep talking learning disabilities. This podcast is sponsored by eDiagnostic Learning. You can find more information at www.ediagnosticlearning.com.